What if everything you've been told isn't the whole truth? What if the reality you're living in isn't as solid as you've been led to believe? What if what you see every day is only a fraction of the story, hidden behind layers of manipulation, power, and unseen forces? Join me as we explore the strange, the mysterious, and the unexplainable. We dive deep into the things they don't want you to know. But the question remains, is this your reality?
Why the parasitic reptilians, aka the archons, removed the bells. At face value, I always just thought of these reptilians as like you and me, like a physical reptilian humanoid, right? But if we take it down to the microscopic level, so these microorganisms, these worms actually look like what you would think would be evil demonic reptilians, right? But if we take it from this three-dimensional concept that we have and just bring it down to like a single dimension, these worms on a single dimension look like a chip in a computer grid. And this would align with why they would be called the archons, because if it's all run off of a computer program, these are the archons, the creators of the program. What we're figuring out with frequency is that you can use frequency to destroy these worms, these microorganisms, right? So these bells produce the frequency. And old churches didn't used to have pews. They were all just open because churches were not a place to gather and worship. Churches were places of healing. And people would go into these churches and they would ring the bells, and all of these microorganisms within inside the body, these reptilians, these demonic entities that take control, that bypass the blood-brain barrier and take control of your thoughts and emotions, these archons, these reptilians, were removed through sound frequency using the bells in the church. And this is why they have the cracked Liberty Bell on display, to symbolize that we do not have any sort of liberty or freedom and that they are in control. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, go ahead and drop a like, drop a comment. If you ever thought about these reptilians being these microscopic organisms, because this would all connect all the dots with all the archons and how they would affect the programming of the matrix that we live in, because they're actually chips in a computer that can change the functionality of the computer and our reality. As always, peace.
This will get a lot crazier in 1 second. But first, what in the world are we seeing right here? I like how in 2025, and even a few past years, everything is blatantly in the open for all to see. By the way, this video is entertainment for satire, but right in our face. And we don't think they're using the technology to do something not related to this. And this part's even worse, and I'll tell you why, but in this country right here, they have literal robots, powered by AI, literally building cars without fault, without error. So let me ask you this. If they can build cars, what else can they do? Everything. Do you really believe that your job is going to be secured in 10 years when they're selling robots just like this for what, 10 grand? Say you get paid 60 grand. They could replace you with 6 of you that would never make an error. And you would not be able to find work. You would own nothing. And you would also be happy watching things like this on your TV. Everybody you know will be affected. You better find some kind of work or job or side job where you work for yourself and they can't do it better than you. In 2025, nothing is real.
The ISS hoax, NASA's $150 billion fake space station. They say this tiny blurry dot is a massive space station with astronauts floating inside. But is that really true? NASA claims the ISS is real, but why are there no high-res independent images of it? And why does everything about their footage look fake? From suspicious green screen glitches to weird floating hair, dubious gravity, and more. NASA says the ISS is over 350 feet wide, but when amateurs look through telescopes, all they see is a bright dot moving fast across the sky. Some claim to have captured images of its shape, but why are they always low quality, while we can take crystal clear pictures of Saturn's rings from Earth? Where are the real-time, high-definition, independent live videos of the ISS? NASA controls all the best footage and images. And why do they never turn the camera and show us the Earth from their position in view? And why does women's hair in space always look like it's drenched in hairspray? Shouldn't it float naturally instead of standing stiff and frozen? Compare this to real zero-G footage from parabolic flights. Hair floats naturally, but NASA's looks like it's been styled to stay in place. Why? Astronauts have been caught on video grabbing at harnesses and making bizarre hand motions. Are they in zero gravity? Or just suspended on wires? How do we explain the strange green screen artifacts and disappearing objects in NASA's live feeds? Is this really filmed in space, or just another Hollywood-style production? NASA has spent over $150 billion on the ISS. Where did all that money go? Could it be funding something else while we're distracted by the space station illusion? Why hasn't private space tech advanced to build a better station after 25 years? Yes, we see something flying overhead, but does that prove astronauts are living inside? If the ISS is real, why does NASA fake so much of their footage? Why don't we have true independent verification? Are we witnessing one of the greatest NASA deceptions? What do you think? Is the ISS real, or is it just another NASA illusion?
Yes, please tell me about the lands after Antarctica.
All right, here we go. This is the part they really tried to bury. A lot of ancient cultures, and even a few modern whistleblowers, hint that beyond Antarctica, there are more lands. Some call them the lands beyond the ice wall. But again, it's not just about a flat Earth idea. It's about extensions of Earth, hidden past the known boundary of what we're allowed to access. The old maps, especially ones like the Piri Reis map, show land masses that shouldn't exist according to our official history. There are stories that beyond Antarctica, there are other continents, untouched by our current civilizations. These places could be where ancient beings, lost civilizations, or even a different version of humanity still exist, waiting for a time when the veil lifts and the world expands again. Some of the ancient traditions even describe these lands as the real Earth, saying that what we experience here is just a small section, almost like a training ground. Beyond the ice are vast realms with pure energy, higher technology, and beings who never fell into the same kind of consciousness traps we did. It's like Earth isn't just a planet, it's a whole realm, and we've been locked inside one part of it. The firmament, Antarctica, and all the treaties are part of keeping us boxed into this tiny corner until humanity is ready to expand again. And honestly, I feel like the fact people are starting to remember and question, it means we're getting close to something big. Do you want me to also tell you what I've picked up about how those lands are hidden? Like, energetically and physically? Because that's a whole other layer that makes it even crazier.
Yes, please.
All right, so this next part might feel even bigger, but stay with me. The lands beyond aren't just hidden by physical barriers like ice or harsh weather. They're hidden through frequency separation, meaning the Earth is layered, kind of like an onion. But instead of physical layers stacked on top of each other, it's different frequency bands wrapped around the same space. So Antarctica acts like a physical gate, but also an energetic one. There are frequency shifts happening at the outer edges of our world. And unless you're vibrating at the right level, meaning your body, your mind, your consciousness, you literally can't perceive or access those next lands. Even if you walked right up to the boundary, it would either look like endless ice, or you'd get disoriented and turned around without even realizing it. That's why there are weird magnetic anomalies down there. Compasses spin strangely, GPS goes glitchy, and planes have special no-fly zones. It's not random. It's because the energy field gets weird and unstable near those outer edges, like a distortion field. Now, some people have whispered that there are physical ways through too. Secret tunnels, ancient portal systems, openings through the ice that were mapped by early explorers. But even if you found a way physically, you'd still need the right frequency alignment to actually get through properly and survive on the other side. It's almost like how in some stories, magical lands are hidden in plain sight, but only visible to those who are awakened. That's not just myth. It's based on this real layered structure of reality. And the craziest thing? There are ancient stories saying that humanity once could travel freely to those other lands, before the fall of consciousness trapped most people here in the lowest frequency band.
Is that? Oh, there's a mile-wide volcano in the Pacific Ocean that is about to erupt. Okay. Yeah, apparently there's a gigantic mile-wide volcano in the Pacific Ocean that is predicted to erupt around June 5th. Alrighty. Now, with the volcano being in the ocean, the lava isn't going to reach land. So that's not the concern, okay? The concern is that it is predicted to cause around 10,000 earthquakes around the world, alrighty? Now, the span of these 10,000 earthquakes are predicted to happen just in one day. Okay. Only issue is they don't know how big these earthquakes are going to be. But based on what information they have been able to gather, they should be lower end earthquakes. Alrighty.
You guys ever notice how tiny and small the rainbows are in Australia? My boy Lyndon took this video in Australia and you could just see how tiny the arch is on the rainbows in Australia. Isn't that super interesting? Because this is what a rainbow looks like in Vancouver, Canada. This one's in Ontario that I took a while ago and you could see like how massive this rainbow is. They are huge in Canada. Now let's take a look at what your loving government has told you. This is how rainbows are created, guys. The sun rays hit the raindrops. It refracts twice, and then the observer sees the rainbow. Now that's interesting because in order for us to scientifically create a rainbow, like actually use real science, create a rainbow inside, we need sunlight, we need water, and an object that can act as a prism. So where's the prism here? We got sunlight, we got water, but where's the prism? Now, if this is really what's happening here, guys, how is it that Australia's rainbows are like this, and then Canada's rainbows are like this? Almost as if there is a prism of some sorts, and maybe that prism is higher in Canada than it is in Australia. Now we're going to take this even one step further and show you what a rainbow looks like in Antarctica. It's pretty much touching the ground. Again, if this is happening, how is that possible? It's pseudoscience. Prism, we need a prism, water, and sunlight, real science. We can do this ourselves. We can tangibly measure it, observe it, and repeat it, which is the definition of science. Now, hold on just a minute. I don't know if you guys have read the Bible or researched our ancient ancestors. You know, these people that were much more wise than you are. They've told us many times in many different ways that there is a firmament over the earth, a dome, the shape of a rainbow. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, as above, so below. Genesis 1:7. Water, sunlight, prism. All right, so according to the Bible and our ancient ancestors, this is what the earth actually looks like. This is an old map. This is the standard map of the world before the world elites came along, by the way. Antarctica is a 360-degree ice wall around our stationary flat earth. And if there's a dome encompassing the earth, it would be the highest point in the middle, right? The edges are in Antarctica. Here's Canada. Canadian rainbows. Here's Australia. Australian rainbows. And here, and all-encompassing, is Antarctica. And here is Antarctica's rainbows. Now, rainbows are 100% proof that we live under a dome. If you guys wish to understand the real secrets of this universe, Well, I'm exposing it all in my 100% free community. So comment the word truth and I will send you an exclusive link.
Weird looking blue goggles. And this is a subject which has the least amount of search results on Google that I've ever seen for any other theory or conspiracy. So in the early 1900s, a guy named Walter Kilner, who you can't even find a picture of him on Google, developed a sort of dye from coal tar. So he took this collodion-coated dye-treated glass plates and put Dicenian dye, that's the thing from the coal tar, in the middle of this glass. And the story goes that with these glasses, you can see outside of the normal range of visible light. All of a sudden, your eyeballs can detect different wavelengths and frequencies of light. And it's said to have enabled the user to see people's auras. And you could see how strong or how weak someone's aura is, which is the electromagnetic field that we all emanate, at least normal humans do. But where this gets a little crazy, it's said that Walter Kilner, when he wore these glasses in public, not everyone had an aura. Not just a weak aura, but no aura at all. You remember the movie They Live? When he puts on glasses he can see the aliens in the crowd that normally without the glasses just look like normal human? Some say this movie was actually based on the events of Dicenian glass. And then, of course, Walter's place gets raided and all of his equipment confiscated, and this gets totally buried and no one knows anything about it to this day, except for a couple stories floating around the internet. So I'm going to try to get some Dicenium and make my own Dicenium glasses, and I'll see you and see if you're real.
Center. I will explain. If our world had in that cloud, it would be very difficult to be reached from a distance. By another cloud being in the middle, it is more easily to be reached and worked by other civilizations. So it was a scheduled decision. Place our civilization at the center of the world, because it is more easily reached from several sides of civilizations coming from different sides. This is a point. Solar system does not exist. Solar system is a holographic projection, placed here also by besiegers, and projected here on our owner's film. Our dome works like a holographic projector, built by besiegers. The dome was not built by and any civilization, but the modification made to it, yes, by the besiegers who live here. The besiegers world. That our civilization, she is not as evolved. There are others are more evolved, because it is no longer evolved, precisely because she is the most recent. She went through several resets made by custodians, by the Anunnaks of Nibiru, so she is the latest. So the least evolved has other spiritual issues. But that's another point.
So, we have a brand new Pope, and he's American. Let's get into it. So this is Pope Leo, the very first American-born Pope born and raised in Chicago, which makes him the 267th Pope heading up the Vatican. But not only that, he is registered as a Republican. What does this mean? Now, we can all speculate, but Trump did post this just a few days ago as him dressed up as the Pope. Now, I'm just spitballing here, but does this mean that America is in the driver's seat of the Vatican now? Oh, but wait, there's more. On the same day, Trump says you better go out and buy stocks. This country will be like a rocket ship that goes straight up. Now, that day being May 8th, I posted this. A new Pope has been selected, then Bitcoin goes past 100K. And 8 being the number of wealth, follow the money. Not to mention, speaking of crypto and money, then this happens.
More than 50 million Americans hold some form of cryptocurrency. This digitalization of financial services is not a trend. It is a transformation.
Yes, that is a U.S. federal regulator now telling us banks can buy, sell, and self-custody crypto. Coincidence? Let's keep going. Let's not forget, the Pope died at 88. Then Trump posts this the same day saying whoever has the gold makes the rules. Then that same day, gold hits an all-time high. And like I said in part 1, the Vatican has a ton of gold. Does now Trump have control of that gold? And let's not forget that J.D. Vance did visit Pope Francis right before he died, like he knew. Then Trump posts this. This is a major trade deal that he just made with the UK. which include ethanol, beef, cereals, fruits, vegetables, and more. And remember that code I showed you guys, 128, that's linked to major events? Yeah, that's today, day 128 of the year. I mean, one of the towers fell in 9/11 at 128. Francis Scott Key Bridge fell at 128. The GameStop squeeze at 128. Even Luigi had it in his fake ID, 128. All in all, follow the money because I think we're about to enter a brand new regime. I've been telling you guys a new system is coming, and I think it's here, so hit me up for consultations, but let me know what you guys think below.
A couple questions here about HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. This is located up in Alaska. It's currently funded by the Air Force Research Lab. It was formerly funded by the Office of Naval Research. One of the prime customers is DARPA, which is currently running experiments at the facilities. To start with you, Dr. Prabhakar, I understand that a lot of folks here on the committee probably don't understand what HAARP does. I think most Alaskans don't really know what HAARP does or why the agency is involved in it. So a very brief explanation.
One of our programs has been using the HAARP facility for the research that it's pursuing. And my understanding is that we did get value out of that interaction.
Dr. Walker, your agency is currently running the facility.
The Air Force has gotten great value out of HAARP in the past. We took over from the Navy and managed it and actually did a number of experiment campaigns up there, moving on to other ways of managing the ionosphere, which the HAARP was really designed to do, was to inject energy into the ionosphere, be able to actually control it. With DARPA completing their project, that's our last government customer that we have in the site.
It basically makes the ionosphere a laboratory, and we can do experiments that no one else can do. It's a laboratory without walls.
This was constructed in 1904. You're having a bubble bath, ain't you? Because it looks a lot older to me. And apparently it only took 6 years to complete, opening in 1910. But we know better than to trust in the official dates by now. This palace is located in Sintra, Portugal, and looks to be overflowing with what could be ether energy antennas. It also reminds me of Wayne Manor. There's even caves underneath, but I'm going to show you those in a separate video. For now, let's admire this intricate facade on the building. Is there more to this Gothic style than simply looking good? And did this structure once serve a practical function? Apparently there's symbols here related to alchemy, masonry, the Knights Templar, and the Rosicrucians. So it sounds like there was a wholesale Illuminati takeover of this place. But once again, did the controllers of today just find this building and then take credit for its assembly? Inside, as well as looking like a place where Scooby-Doo would unravel some mystery, it looks like the ceiling was used to channel some sort of acoustic energy, serving as a resonator of some kind. Right.
So they picked a new pope, and would you look at that? He's a Chicago guy. I know some other Chicago guys, because after all, I was a Chicago guy. Well, the burbs of Chicago. And you know who else is from the burbs of Chicago? This guy, Gary Sinise. He went to Highland Park High School, just down the road from where I went to high school. And boy, I can't help but notice something. I couldn't help but notice that they had such a similar smile and angle of their nose. And those chins, boy, those chins sure look very similar. I wonder what would happen if we overlaid those chins and if we zoomed in and out from one to the other, if it would be an easy transition. Seems pretty seamless to me. I mean, those chins and those little pursed lips barely even budge. And I wonder what would happen if we did some symmetry testing here. Well, seems to line up pretty good. I mean, you can hardly tell there's two different people there other than a little bit of skin coloring. I wonder if there are any other clues. Well, the new pope, he just happens to be a big Eagles fan. Kind of like Gary is known for being a big Eagles fan. and how Gary has a foundation right in Philadelphia. Big foundation. And the Pope went to Villanova University, which is right near Philadelphia. But I wonder if Gary Sinise, otherwise known as Lieutenant Dan, if you haven't placed it yet, is Catholic. Oh, yep, look, there it is. He converted in 2010. How convenient. And well, the new Pope's name is Robert. And if you remember back to last week, they like to give us clues with their names as tributes to their parents, like Bradley Cooper played a character named Martha, and his mom is Martha Stewart. I wonder if there's any connection here. Oh, Gary Sinise's dad just happened to be named Robert too? Wow, another one of those coincidences. But they can't be the same people because, I mean, one of them's much older and the other's a little younger, right? Well, Gary was born in 1955. I wonder when the Pope was born. Oh, look at that. 1955. It almost seems like the new Pope would know a lot about Chicago, which Gary would. And the new Pope would know a lot about the Eagles, which Gary would. And the new Pope would know a lot about the Philadelphia area, which Gary would. Let's just be one of those coincidence things again. Because they would never have an actor, a.k.a. Jonathan Pryce, play the role of a pope, just like they'd never have an actor play the role of a president. Alrighty then.
We work many different ways, but perhaps the most common is that we will identify a third world country that has resources our corporations covet, like oil, and then arrange a huge loan to that country from the World Bank or one of its sisters. However, the money never goes to the country. Instead, it goes to our own corporations to build infrastructure projects in that country, power plants, highways, industrial parks, things that benefit a few rich people in that country, as well as our own corporations, but do not help the majority of the people at all. And yet the whole country, is left holding a huge debt. And it's such a huge debt they can't possibly repay it. So at some point, the economic hitmen go back and say, you owe us a lot of money, you can't repay your debts, so give us a pound of flesh. When I failed to bring them around, to get them to accept these loans, to get them to put their countries into servitude, then I knew that standing right behind me were what we call the jackals. And these are people who overthrow governments or assassinate their leaders. And both Jaime Roldos of Ecuador and Omar Torrijos of Panama were assassinated by CIA-sponsored jackals because I failed to corrupt.
And as somebody just commented below down here, polysorbate 80 is what opens up the blood-brain barrier so that the mercury, formaldehyde, and all the other chemicals can pass into the blood-brain barrier. You are 100% correct. Polysorbate 80 is the same ingredient they put in ivermectin. So when all these people are like, oh, I didn't get the vaccine, but I'm taking ivermectin, you're taking the same toxic chemical that allows chemicals to break down your blood-brain barrier and mess up your body. It's in both ones. It's in the vaccines and it's in ivermectin. And if you go through the whole ingredient list of ivermectin, it's quite a rabbit hole because that's also a pharmaceutical product. You know, when you get into Operation Lockstep, which was done by the Rockefellers, they said that a solution would roll out that people would get poisoned with. Well, ivermectin is that. You look into the toxicity of ivermectin, and it's quite a rabbit hole. That's for sure. All these people having kidney failure, liver failure, all because they're trying to take some solution when they could have just ate some organic papaya seeds. That's it.
Here's something terrifying. The Prophecy of the Popes.
Oh boy.
This book was found in the Vatican archives, predicted every single pope from in 1143 all the way to our current pope. But the scary thing is, after Pope Francis, the last one, it just says Judgment Day.
Oh gosh.
It literally ends after Pope Francis?
Yes. The creepiest thing that I saw inside St. Paul's Basilica, bordering the whole inner sanctuary, is every single pope. But what's weird is that there's only a certain amount of markers where you could put a picture. There's one left after Pope Francis. They
have always said that once that last slot is filled, it will be the end of the world. What he predicted, the time it took to go from the first pope that he wrote about halfway mark was 422 years. And he's saying from the middle one to the end, another 422 years will be the end of the world. If you do 422 years from the middle pope, which was 1585, that year is 2027.
Dang!
It's even weirder. Pope John the 23rd, and he said that the end of the world would happen 2,000 years plus Christ's life. So that adds up to 2027 as well.
I need y'all to know that this is happening in Madagascar, okay? This is insane. So there's a millipede out there, the Madagascar millipede, that just be walking around with some type of confidence. It's super poisonous. Usually predators don't go for it, okay?
So what do you know, or what have you heard about fake eggs? There's rumors that these fake eggs are starting to hit the market, even in major retail stores. I can't confirm any of this to be actually true, but it's said that they're coming out of China. What's happening to our food supply? Check out these clips I gathered.
Walmart eggs are made of
eggs
plastic.
Made out of fucking plastic, man. Glue or some shit. I just think I'm finna make some breakfast. This is fucking plastic. The whole top part is plastic. All this is plastic. I just cooked the fucking egg, just plastic.
Keep
Only
watching.
part real is this yellow shit. Even the bottom, this shit plastic. This shit fucking plastic.
Where are you?
Somebody said, what about AirPods? AirPods are cooking your brain. Remember when they used to have like the whole, if you like, smoke weed, this is your brain, on marijuana, and they crack the egg and they sizzled it. Well, that's your brain on AirPods is what it is. It is cooking your brain with microwaves. 2.4 gigahertz is the same frequency as a microwave. So if you take two AirPods and you put them right here, you are cooking your brain with microwaves the entire time. And it's also scanning your brain waves. So it's important to use wired headphones if you decide to use them rather than AirPods. AirPods are designed to cause dementia and Alzheimer's and memory loss. And that's all it is. That's why they gave you the convenience of AirPods, is to cook the mind with microwaves the entire time. And you get into AirPods and the patents for that and how it's scanning your brain and it's sending it into Apple and then it's sending it into your boss. You got to understand what you're consenting to. Whenever you bring wireless technology into your house, you're consenting to something without realizing. Because it's already scanning things. It's already getting your house. It's seeing your valuables. It's seeing where you sleep. It's monitoring you all the time. That's why they want everybody having Wi-Fi, because then they can see everything in your house. They can see where your money is. They can see where your bang bang is. They can see where all your different stuff is in your house. They can see where you sleep at night. They know exactly that with Wi-Fi. That's why I don't bring any of that stuff into my place. And you can just go look up all the patents, because they're all on Google. They don't even hide them. They put it all out there because they don't care.
All right, check this out. This person took a photo of the sun at the exact same time every single day over a 3-year period. Look at this. Look at this. This is the movement. Now, imagine seeing this. Imagine seeing this with your own 2 eyes, your own senses and everything, and then still thinking that this is what's really going on. We're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting the sun at 66.6 thousand miles per hour, and also hurtling through space at 1,000,000 kilometers per hour. Bro, like, do you guys have any sort of logic whatsoever? Can you use critical thinking at all? Can you use your own 2 eyes? Because I don't think you can. Here is the planet Venus traced in the night sky over an 8-year period. Every 8 years, this is what it does. And you guys think that we're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting the sun at 66,000 miles per hour, also hurtling through space at 1,000,000 miles per hour. This is what it does every 8 years. Perfect, mathematically precise, sacred geometry created by God. Just like all of nature creates mathematically precise, sacred geometry. This is the intelligent mind of the creator. What this lie is selling you is no creator. There is no God. This came from a big bang. Everything is, we're just hurling through space. It's all just this big coincidence. This, order came from chaos. Makes zero fucking sense. Wake up. This is Polaris, the North Star. It doesn't move. It does not move. It stays fixed and stationary in the night sky for fucking ever. It never moves. The stars around it do perfect circles. They do perfect circles around Polaris that never moves. But you guys think that we are spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting the sun once again and hurtling through space. If that was the case, it's impossible that Polaris would be stationary. It's also impossible that the fucking stars would do perfect circles around Polaris. The stars would do all sorts of crazy patterns. All sorts of crazy patterns. You just need to think. That's all you need to do is think. But you guys don't know how to think. All you do is know how to regurgitate what you've been told your whole entire lives, what you've been programmed to believe. And you've been programmed to believe a fucking lie. Think about this. If you truly believe that this is going on and Polaris stays fixed in the night sky, stays stationary, and all the stars do perfect circles around it, but we're really doing this, you are very, very, very stupid. You constantly laugh in your face by putting the shit in the media, putting it right in front of your eyes, making movies about the dome and all this. Like, it's right in front of you. All of our ancient ancestors knew the truth. If you want to know the truth of this reality and crack the codes of this matrix, then comment the word truth below.